Hello, welcome back on my second tutorial of how to program the Korg Wavestate. This time we are going to look how to use the factory content to create your own sounds. Let's look at the different elements of the Korg Wavestate. Default, when you start up the Wavestate, it's in performance mode, and a performance consists of a maximum of 4 layers. And every layer has one program, and a program is one programmed sound for that specific layer. So another thing that you need to know is that every program uses samples, and the samples, that can be one sample or a series of multiple samples, or samples that are morphing into each other or just are rhythmic. Lots of possibilities that you can do, and we'll look in depth with that. And there are also presets called wave sequences, and that's basically one instance of the item. So a performance is 4 times the complete wavestate, a program, and program is one instance of the complete wavestate. A wave sequence that you can also select by pressing those, now you can select one of the presets of the wave sequences, is basically this section. So the programming of your timing, your sample, your pitch, shape, gate, step sequencer. So basically the sound that you are working with. And the program is basically the whole synth edit interface, like the ADSR of the filters, envelopes, amplitudes, LFOs, the effects section. That's all in a program. And every wave sequence is using samples that you can select by pressing the wave sequence tab and then the sample position number that you want to use, and those are over here, but we're going to do that later on. And you can select one of the samples in the wavestate. If you turn quickly, you get quite quickly through the elements. If you do it slowly, well, you can go on for quite a while because there are a lot of samples. So let's start creating one of those things by going to the init performance section. When you turn left all the way quite quickly, you can go to an init performance section. You have seen this in all kinds of tutorials. It's basically the syn to saw sound. A very boring sound, to be honest, but it's a great starting point to create your own sounds with the factory content. So we are in the performance mode and we are going to program layer 1. And layer 1 is a program for that specific layer. Now, if you want to go to the program section, press the arrow button and you will see that the white highlighter will go to layer A init program. And that means that you're in program mode. That's not really obvious, but that's the way how it works. When you turn the knob, you can select one of the factory programs that are in this machine. That's quite a different program than the performances that you used, but these are the building blocks for your own sound, basically. Okay, and there are a lot of programs to choose from. So when you are creating a sound, then you basically have an idea up front from, hey, what am I going to create? So let's create a pad sound with an arpeggiator on top of it. That's our goal. We want to look for programs that are pad sounds. Now you can do that by going to hold shift, right arrow, and you get to the filters and sort order page for that specific program section. Now we want to select a category and we want to select one of the included pads. Press the enter button by selecting it, and now I will only get program sounds that are for use, that we can use. Now Now, for instance, this preset, I think that's a nice preset. So when I play now with my own init performance, so I've now used one of the factory programs for this performance. Now I go to layer B. It's still in program mode. So now I want to add an arpeggiator on top of it. I turn the knob, press Shift right arrow, go to the category arpeggio and select one of the included arpeggios. This is quite nice arp. So now when I play it, I have two layers and I can use that sound. So basically I've used now two factory programs to create a new performance by combining them together. This is also a good point to save your own sound, because you will make mistakes, and there is not an undo functionality, so it's always good to use the save button, the right button, a lot. So let's do that. Press the right button. Let's give it a name by going to the next page and press enter. I like to start with my initials so that I can easily recognize him. When I don't finish them yet, I use Q R with an exclamation mark between them. And let's call it pet. If you want to remove letters, just hold the shift button and press the page minus and you will get, they will go away. It's also beneath your screen how that works. Press the enter button. Now it says Q exclamation mark R pet and it says protected, cannot override. That's normal because we've used one of the factory content and you can't override the factory contents. But we can create a new performance. So hold the shift and press right and then press enter. Now it's saved. And now we basically have created our new program and it's called Q exclamation mark R pet. If you use factory content and also the programmed interface is also included. So let's reset it. Okay. Now, nice start, but I think, hey, I like the pet sound of the ARP, but I want to change the pet sound. Now, how are you doing this? Be sure that the wave sequence step is activated, because otherwise you will select a new performance preset. And we go to the sample page, because we want to change the samples, and press 1. Now you will see that it uses the Syn MX Gnarly lead sample for the pet sounds. Now if you press the sample button again, you will see here if it uses multiple items. Well, it does. It uses 2 items. I'm not really sure why it doesn't change, but you also see that it has a preset name. This is also something that you can change. There's a huge amount of presets of settings. You can do this for timing, sample, pitch, and it changes basically only the lane with that preset. So let's see if we can find something. It's much better. You've heard that the samples are changed from. We've had this. Let me only solo layer A by holding Enter A. This was the original, and for instance, this is a different preset. I like it, so I'm gonna use that one. Press Enter. And you see this is a 3-layered sample sequence. You see it change. But I like the whole setup of this, but I want to change the sample it uses. Now, I can go to the sample page, press the corresponding item I want to change, and for instance I don't want to use this Fox sample, but I want other sample. You hear that has quite different results when selecting different kind of samples. And the same applies here. You can look into specific categories. So if you say, hey, I want a synth type of sound, you get only the synth samples. By pressing Shift right arrow and then selecting that category. Yes, for instance the Interstellar looks nice. So another depth layer of your sound. So we had the performance, the program, then we went to the wave sequence step and then the layer. Press the sample button and choose a different preset for that specific program that we used. So why did we select that program at first and not directly the sample lane? Well, in the program the filter section and the amplitude and the pitch and everything, your synth programming was already done. Only the bass sound that was used, the samples. Well, we changed only the bass samples now, but we kept the character of that specific program. So when we look now, yes, looks quite nice, but you hear that it's in this preset that the octave is too low. Well, luckily I've set on layer A and in the previous tutorial that you can use the shift button for the blue things, for the blue labels, and we see the octave label below the resonance. So hold the shift and you see octave min 1. So let's transpose it 1 to 0. Another patch that works, so good moment to write down or save the work so that we can go continue. Well, then we want to add some reverb on top of it. So in just a few moments we created a new nice sounding pad sound with an arpeggiator on top of it, and we can do the same for the beep tones on top. Let's select layer B, go to wave sequence. You see the bells are 2 octaves higher. Marimbas, we want to select something different. press the sample selection lane, the preferences, go to category. Now let's do something synthy. So now the only thing we have to do is select carefully the layers, the volume levels of each layer. That's a really important thing because everything at 100 is way too loud. Let's see how loud the number A is. It's 100. I like to set it to 80 so we have some spare room left to play with it. Go to layer B, set it to 0. I'm holding enter and turning the knob I want to check, and then it won't change the original level. So now I'm at that level, and now add it. And now can we turn up that volume? So that's basically how you build sounds with the factory content. So quickly again, when you go to an init performance, you can select one of the programs by going to the layer. You see it selected, turning the knob, and press shift right arrow for the category you want to add. Well, for instance, a drum thing for a hard rhythm. So when you want to change that specific program, press the wave sequence tab that it's activated, be sure of that, and press the first sequence lane and press the sample button. And there you have the other presets that you can use to change the original sound where this synth engine program is based on. So completely different than the original by just changing a few things in the wave state. If you want to modify the specific sample, just let's add quickly a pad sound beneath it. Let's do this just because it's fun and it's not hard to do. Let's just add and split. I like it, but you will hear that the arpeggiator basis, if you press more buttons, it will, or more notes, it will sound not really good. So let's change that. We can do it in the performance mode. Yeah, I hold the shift button and go 2 pages back, 3 I guess, yeah, and just change it to low, that my low button. Now it doesn't matter anymore. It's a mono sound now, where the lowest button determines which thing you will hear, which is especially handy if you are going to use it with pads. Well, a quick example, and we've created 2 pads within no time, so it's really easy to do once you know how to do it. And these are great starting points for creating your own wave sequences later on in the series. But this way you can experiment for hours, combining all the factory content together to get great results. Okay, that's where I end this tutorial right now. It shouldn't take too long. It's already way too long. And let's continue with the next.